Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another webinar here. We're going to get started here in a second. There's a lot of people joining. So give us about 30, 45 seconds and we'll get started. All right, well, let's get started. Welcome everybody back. Happy fall. Heat's over. Everybody down in Texas. Hopefully you guys survived the summer heat. And it's fall here, so we're going to talk a little about some of the things going on in the market here in a little bit, but just really appreciate everybody joining the call here. So just go to the agenda a little bit. We're going to be talking, I'm sorry, let me introduce myself here. I'm Scott Ebling, a lot of people, new people here. I'm Scott Ebling, Director of Pricing and Strategic Solutions here at Box, and with me is Allie Caldaway. She's the manager of the Pricing and Strategic Solutions team here at Box, and hopefully we've talked to many of you, and hopefully we talk to many more of you as we help you guys grow your business. So first of all, we're going to go over the agenda here. We'll talk about Box as usual, and Allie's going to be talking, going into what we have to offer, and a market update. I'll be providing a market update here this month, and then Allie's going to take a deep dive into custom products and contracts. So we'll be taking a look at kind of the ins and outs of those. Of that area. So take it away. I want you to tell us a little bit about Box here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this month's webinar, Market Update and Exploration into Custom Products. If you are new to Box or you don't work with us yet, or you're just starting out, Broker Online Exchange, or Box, is your ultimate commercial energy brokering partner. We provide independent energy brokers and affiliates with access to all top electricity and natural gas suppliers, instant pricing, and cutting-edge software, all supported by industry experts. Box has become the largest network of energy agents, brokers, and consulting firms in North America. We hold a variety of diverse energy connections, and we love to connect our partners so they can each benefit from streamlined, efficient options in deregulated markets. You can see those deregulated markets up here on the screen, licensed in all deregulated states. So you can use our licenses. You don't have to be licensed to offer your customers options in any of these states. In green, you'll see we have natural gas options available. In blue, we have both natural gas and electricity options available. And in that dark gray or black, we have limited availability. Most of those are natural gas markets where we have a limited number of suppliers participating, and customers only of certain rate codes or size thresholds are able to shop or eligible to shop. But we do have some options there. So if you're dealing with larger customers in any of those territories with the dark stripes through, or that dark gray color, let us know. Feel free to reach out to your account manager. We do have opportunities, and we can serve opportunities in those states. So Broker Online Exchange provides access to all markets, all suppliers, and all products, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But our supplier list is what is going on this slide. You'll see probably several names that you know. We've got Dynegy, closing a lot of business with those guys lately. NG, also very aggressive pricing. Energy Harbor, those guys are awesome. We love our team over there. Looking at APG&E, so we've got a lot of good big names that have good territory coverage for both power and gas, really everywhere nationwide. And then we work with a good share of regional suppliers who are able to lend their more niche expertise here. So you'll see Catalyst and New Wave there. Those are two of our newer suppliers, but those guys are killing it and offering really good options in their markets. So again, feel free to reach out to your account managers if you want to know more about our supplier relationships. We have very deep experience in this industry. Box is one of the older brands who's been doing what we do, and the advantage of that is that we have relationships, very good and strong relationships with each of these brands. We're happy to put them to work for you. And then last, I just want to introduce our strategic solutions team. That is Scott, myself, and the rest of our pricing desk. Buying electricity and natural gas can be very complex, and with complexity comes the possibility of customers signing contracts that don't include what they had anticipated. We'll talk a little bit about that in terms of the custom product side and in terms of the contract analysis and negotiation that we can provide. But the other pieces that we provide in order to give a full suite of solutions to each and every one of our consultant and broker partners are usage analytics and budget reporting through our utility data box platform, energy sustainability strategy and benchmarking through some of our gold standard partners in the industry, pricing optimization, and we have our own pricing models. We have our own resources that we have built to keep everybody honest and make sure that we know what's going on in every single market day to day. And of course, having RFP management and execution if your needs are more complex and you're looking for an expert partner to really create a roadmap to get you exactly the options that you want and ensure that you're getting all of the best options from the open market. We're happy to sit with you on your side of the table and draw that up with you. Lots of good options coming out of our team on our strategic solutions side. So wanted to highlight that team and our offerings as well. If you have a complex customer, a larger customer who has goals above and beyond just getting a contract in place for this next winter, let us know. We want to talk to them and we want to talk to you. And with that, I will give it back to Scott for our market update.
Thanks, Sally. Really appreciate that. And one thing I want to note too is these services we offer, we're here for you. We specialize in a team selling approach. We really take it. And you've heard this so many times from us, but if you're new to us, we really advocate the team selling approach, and it's really picked up a lot in the past 2 months. And we've been helping our broker consultant community out there close a lot more deals because, Allie or myself or both of us have joined these calls. We've introduced utility data box to the customer. We've introduced specific strategic hedging program that they could use. And we basically, I think we had around 14 calls with specific customers, Allie, last month, and we closed 13 of them. So we closed 13 of those 14. Actually, I think 11, but 2 of them are getting closed this week. So it is going to be 13 of those 14 calls. We closed this business because we helped them get on the call. There wasn't any extra charges for the brokers in that, none for our services. It's all part of the whole package that when you come to Box, it's not just, hey, let's get your price, here it is. We have all these services to offer. We're here to offer them. Just talk to your account manager, and one of our team members will join that call with you. At least start out with a strategic call of how to win a deal, and secondly, further is just being a part of your team on that customer call, on the customer call. So this is one of them. If you get one thing out of this call the whole time, even in my market update, all this, that's the one thing. Team selling works, and we're here to help you get the deal done. So moving on, market update. Okay, so pricing, here we are, back. Been up a little bit since last month. ERCOT continues to be bid. I mean, part of it is the ERCOT saying how the grid is going to be strained here a little bit still this winter. You see that market is though, and this is really interesting. You see the other markets, and especially the gas market, you'll see that it is in a contango market, where contango means that the prices are higher in the further out months than the beginning. Backwardated means that it's lower. And so gas markets contango. The power market in ERCOT though is backwardated, and that's because of all the solar coming on, and really the capacity margin, the level of capacity reserve margin level of power that's going to be available when it's strained, what's kind of reserve is increasing. So that's what you're seeing there. And really, so to speak, like the knee pool zone G, that's because that's kind of an island out there. That's why that's down. We had a little bit lowering in European gas prices. Their storage is full over there. So that's gets kind of iffy. That's really iffy to look at, but that's why that curve has come down the forwards in the European gas. They compete for that gas. So but otherwise, everything's been lockstep here. We still think, and we'll get into it here in a second, about power prices at PGM. But we continue to trade in this tight range here. We're backing back down like mid 370s here this morning. This is a chart from last night. But really stuck in this like $4 to 360 range, relatively speaking, since March. And we've been, tooting the horn here for a while about that was going to be happening. We used to feel that in March, and this would be the case up until we start seeing winter start showing. And if you see anything, the trend line, if you look from beginning of the year down, it's higher highs, lower highs, basically lower highs and lower lows throughout, except for here we got a little higher, but now we get down to here. Are we stopping out here? We didn't really get higher than we were back in August. This technical jargon there, and so yeah, that's the market there. We're just still stuck in this tight range. PGM index prices are still suppressed. I mean, look at this here. We got 38.67 the 5-year average, last 5 years, 41.35 now in the last 12 months. This will continue to drop because look at the October we got to compete against, and in November and December, and unless we get prices well up there, this 12-month average going to dip below 40. That's in PGM West Hub. Again, orange line trailing 12 months, blue bar is yesterday the monthly index. We haven't even been above 40 since, even the whole year. We haven't been above 40 in any month. I mean, it's quite phenomenal with the change we've had here. The green bar is the 5-year average, or orange bar is the 12-month trailing average. So remember that. You're going to see that chart here in a second again in ERCOT. But now we look at the forwards. This is sort of the forwards in here on this. We can see this here. So this is from looking forward, 24-month, 47.75. This is where the forwards are at. This is where the power price is at. I want to say something here though. The forward gas price for this kind of period is relative around like 360. This 5-year average gas price for this same period was 355. So power prices are trading about $10 higher than a gas price of 10 cents higher. So that would be equivalent of power pricing, $8 to $9 higher than what historical heat rates should put this at. I've been to many meetings here and I've been saying this, is that, I think power prices gas prices fairly priced. I think for the market conditions, definitely fairly priced and not slightly undervalued. I think power markets are kind of slightly overpriced for where gas is at. But it does not mean you should not have a hedge strategy in place, a very disciplined hedge strategy to take advantage of that. Yeah, I mean, it's a interesting market there, none to say the least. Be careful on going 100% index, but having somewhat exposure is not should not be out of the question here either. ERCOT prices though, these have cooled off, but look at we still at high prices here. I mean, this is I just want to stipulate one thing here. What are some of your actual prices of 1485? I can put a chart here. You won't be able to see any of this other stuff. So 5-year average in 48.26. Last 12 months has been 59.51. A lot of that's because of August here. This huge August of $260 some, which is the second highest we've had on record for a month. And again, let's throw the overlay and the prices on here. Their spot prices coming down here. And so it's kind of flip a PGM. If you look at this, really, power prices are fairly priced in ERCOT. To say that, and the 5-year average of 48.26. Of course, you're dealing with some large sort of stuff here for this 5-year average here. I only put 350 here, by the way, for the actual price in that 5-year average because it would just skew it out, I think, from fundamental changes that have taken place. But needless to say, yeah, I mean, power prices is more fairly priced in ERCOT compared to where the gas price is. Going to the storage, very healthy storage levels we're at right now, and we're going to be projecting winter storage right around here. So well above the 5-year average. You said Europe's the same way. Whole world is pretty much healthy storage levels right now. Really, thankfully to the mild summer we had, the mild winter we had, and we'll see what happens from there. But healthy storage levels going into winter, it's a good sign. It really cuts down on potential for volatility. Of course, we're not going to get off the call. We're going to talk about future LNG export growth. Yeah, boom, it's happening here. This will be happening. This is where we're at now. These are all under construction. They will be built in time. There is a cost advantage. We got gas selling for $14 in Asia, $12, $13 in Europe. Only costs $1 to $2 to really ship it. So here we are, and this is all going to be built. They are going to be finished. These are being planned in there. It's going to be utilized. So, but we're at pretty much capacity right now, and we're going to be potentially almost doubling it in the next 5 years, and even the next 3 years, going up about like close to 50% higher in the amount of gas we're exporting, 7 BCF a day. Gas production. Wow, are we topping out here? I mean, is this kind of the effects now of the rig count being dropping, which I'm going to show here in a second? Let's just kind of look at this. So the year-on-year hits are going to be coming up in the spring. If we don't get anything, we're not going to be having much more. This is kind of an interesting sign here. Although, yeah, here's why. Rig count is holding steady at the 12-month low. So we had this drop here last month. It hasn't really moved a ton since. Maybe I think it's like 2 to 3 rigs since then. This is natural gas rig count. Very important to understand here. It's a 4 to 6 month lag in drilling activity and production. So let's go back to that production slide. And yeah, so really hasn't been a huge increase since. We haven't had a drop yet. Potentially, if you do have a drop, most of it would come in the winter. But yeah, that's the interesting thing there. I want to show you this though. This is interesting. This is a chart from the Permian. This is pretty much a chart for any of the shale regions, but I saw this chart and I wanted to put it out there for you guys. There is an efficiency. 2 things to look at in this chart. One is there's an efficiency gain of the drilling and how much actually starts coming out of these wells. It's increased. So 2017 and now here we are 2023 here in the blue. So we're at these levels here. This is 2018 and 2020. So we've had these efficiency gains and how much gas is coming out of these shells and just the technology and all that. That's great. But the main thing I wanted to point out here is this. Look at the drop. So you have this like boom. Here's where it comes out at, and this drop in production over time. So this is a 36 months after operation. You can see 2017, 2020s. We all pretty much follow this same pattern. And so we'll here. So follow this pattern. So this comes in and this helps with the later one. So 2017, this comes in and boom, boom. What I'm trying to say here is that 82% of wells drilled in 22, 23 were just to replace current production because of this decline rate. There's a decline rate here. So with this drop in rig counts, you can say, yeah, we have better efficiency in drilling down the wells and all this and technology, but we still need to drill and get this. And if we stop drilling at all, this is the stat I like to throw out there. We stop drilling at all. We just, boom, let's stop drilling, let's stop new wells. We did that for a year. In a year, we drop about 15 to 20 BCF of gas. And, everything will be dark in the winter and you won't have heat. So keep that in mind. El Nino winter is forecasted, and I say forecasted, quote it, forecasted, because forecasting is very hard to do in weather. There's a joke, and I'm going to butcher the crap out of this joke, but if you want to make a man a fool, tell him to teach your dog a trick and forecast the weather. Something like that. I totally butchered it. Yeah, I'll get it back for you. Put it in my notes next time. Anyways, yeah, I really agree and said you can't really tell much past a 15-day forecast. But of course, this El Nino pattern, these are relatively predictable. This is kind of what's being forecasted out there. And with that, this is bearish. I mean, come on. I mean, okay, a little cooler down in Texas, but it's not super cold anywhere, drier, warmer air up in the northern section, mild in the mild to average pretty much throughout the East Coast. That's the big heating area in the Midwest. So yeah, this is slightly bearish for gas. I mean, if we have this all comes in there, we'll be finishing probably this winter in gas. This is an early forecast as well. Winter in gas, where we normally finish around 1.6, 1.7 TCF, we'll probably finish up in the low 2 area, which would be, bam, it's going to continue. We continue pressure on prices, but that being said, we don't know this is going to happen, number one. Number two, we have no idea what, we think production could start declining, and there's going to be also increased exports in LNG. So those factored in could start lifting us down even more and setting us up still for eventually we're going to have a cold winter and a warm summer. But who all knows, because as we like to say, have a strategy. There's risk out there. This is all the stuff. I mean, there's been forecasts that bearish and bullish at these times. We have these spikes and these downs. This is how it all works. So here's the reward where gas is right now. Here's the risk in that red. And as we like to say, you never know. You could have bought, let's see here. Yeah, be disciplined. Customers, you're not taking a short position. They're not taking a long position. They're covering a short position. So, there's so many customers that could have bought the contracts ending here that just waited to buy and ended up having to buy at these levels up here last year at this time. And this could happen again. We don't know. We don't like to forecast. That's why it's for us to have a good strategy in place. And we really are, I'd like to say, pros at developing those strategies. So give us a call and work with us. So that being said, that's all I have today. I'm going to let Ellie take it back here with a deep dive into custom products and contracts. Take it away, Ellie.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. Great market update as always. Hopefully this winter doesn't kill us. I'm really hoping that I've been seeing a lot of news articles out there. I'm sure you guys have too, just talking about how bad the winter is going to be here and abroad, and I mean everywhere. And I know with Uri not too far in our rearview mirror, that's scary stuff, especially for those of us in the industry. So we've got our fingers crossed, but it's overall in comparison to last year, as I'm sure you guys are seeing, it's not a bad time to lock some stuff in and get yourself some protection, because the bottom line is that we really don't know. Going into our deep dive into custom products and contracts, I wanted to talk a little bit. We actually did this webinar, or a very similar webinar, sometime last year. I didn't realize it had been so long, and this is one of our very favorite webinar topics. It's something that is requested a lot. So without further ado, up on the screen, we have here the anatomy of an electricity price. This is a breakdown of a customer in PJM, as you can see, with capacity, transmission, and RPS. So probably dealing with somewhere like Pennsylvania. But the concepts that we're going to discuss are going to be the same market to market. So the first big piece of this pie that you'll see here is the energy component. Now, energy can work a couple different ways in your electricity contracts. You can either have a fixed price over the term, or you can float that energy price on the locational marginal pricing index. That's the price that is basically set by the market. Market pricing is set by generators. It's really cost to run. Index price, as you see on this the middle bottom here, it limits premiums and it increases transparency, because you're essentially paying for power at whatever the market price is. Fixed price, on the other hand, provides budgetary certainty and price protection. But the reason why fixed price is able to provide that budgetary certainty is because your energy supplier on your behalf goes out to the market and secures all of that power for you. Whenever Scott's talking about taking a position in the market, he's talking about making a purchase so that you have a locked price for a set period of time, whether that's a month, a matter of hours, or years. Index price is the flip side of that coin, where you don't fix anything and you're just going to float a market price. So whenever you're seeing pricing options in our system, if you're going through a custom pricing request and you see fixed price, or in our system, an index price is called a fixed adder, those are what those mean. A fixed adder price traditionally will just be an index price. It will pass through energy at whatever the locations, whatever the hub energy price is, whatever the settlement price is. And fixed price, it refers to fixed energy. A hybrid price provides customers the best of both worlds, and that's really available for larger customers using probably 3 to 5 million kilowatt hours a year. Those customers can fix part of their energy and float part of their energy, or AKA a hybrid price. This is also referred to as block and index, where the block refers to a fixed portion of the energy consumption, and the rest floats on the index with an index adder that's applied to all volumes, regardless of whether those volumes are falling under the fixed price that was arranged in advance or the real-time or day-ahead index price that's available locally. So those are our energy options, and those are some of the ways that we can structure products in order to provide customers with a product that actually performs really well for them. We can also, on the hybrid piece, we like to recommend to customers to use a more tiered approach, to use a layered approach, such that you're securing your power in advance. So we're looking at, we have customers that are all locked up. They have, they're 50% hedged through the next 2 years. And we're looking at options for them to either lock the rest of that up to 100%, or we're looking at looking even further in advance, looking down the road at opportunities when, calendar years 2025, 2026, and 2027 take some dips. Managing in advance and taking that long view, specifically around energy, is very important and can really benefit your customer. The other pieces that I wanted to talk about here, aside from energy, are the other pricing components that you see in energy agreements that also contribute to the supply price, but aren't necessarily the price of energy. Those components are, can we go back a couple slides? I just want to look at those, the breakdown again, looking at capacity, transmission, ancillaries, losses, and renewable portfolio standards, or RPS. Each of these components is a non-energy component that is set by some rule or regulation, whether it's losses, the amount of energy that physically burns off between your local hub and your exact meter delivery point. There's a percentage value assigned to that. Or whether it's set like a capacity tag or transmission tag, where your regional transmission organization is assigning a value to your contribution to congestion or capacity on the grid whenever you're using the most that you can on the hottest day of the year or the coldest day of the year for winter peaking loads. Those are costs, whether it's capacity, transmission, or certain fees like ancillaries and RPS, which are really more of a flat per kilowatt hour cost. They all contribute to your supply cost. They're pretty easy to estimate and so easier to budget for, and they don't move around the same way that energy does. Energy is the big part that's going to be very volatile and can either be fixed or floated. The rest of these components can also be fixed and wrapped into a supply price, or they can be passed through to the customer at cost, just based on whatever the customer uses and whatever the regional transmission organization or independent system operator says that their values and contributing costs are. It's important to know what is in and what is not in any given price in order to make an accurate comparison between the offers that you receive and between your customer's current cost per kilowatt hour and their current product and whatever it is that you're pitching. You need to understand and become versed in these products and versed in these contracts as well to understand the component treatments and to understand where your suppliers have rights to either adjust a price or pass a component through. That can come in component treatment, it can come in quantity variance, or it can come in a bunch of other sections that really are a very specific type of legalese. It's energy legalese. I think these contracts are really written specifically for both lawyers and the energy industry. And I think, and everybody goes back and forth over, well, that's not what this means, or let's do this differently. Every supplier has written their own energy contract to make it, clear as mud for all of us who are trying to make heads and tails and actually get our customers an apples to apples comparison. That's another place where we really come in and can demonstrate our value is our expertise in reading these contracts, negotiating these contracts, and rewriting these contracts such that any adjustments or pass-throughs that could, that are written only to benefit the supplier and potentially expose the customer such that we can really make any of those adjustments and pass-throughs bilateral. Anything that would hurt the customer if they're eligible, if they're liable for a cost going up, then they're also eligible for that cost to go down. And suppliers have to pass through cost decreases as well as cost increases, rather than just cherry picking and saying, okay, well, this cost went up, so we'll pass it through, but this cost went down, so we'll keep the change. So just making sure customers get fair treatment and that these contracts are written in a way to benefit both parties as much as possible, rather than just the supplier as the writer, is something where we can really contribute a huge amount of value. The other piece, again, is just knowing what is in and what's out of your price. Whether you're looking at seasonal reliability components or you're in an energy-only market like Texas, which doesn't necessarily have, capacity and transmission charges as huge chunks of the supply cost. It's imperative that you know what's in a price and what's out of a price. So in our system, again, we have fixed and we have fixed adder. That's going to be your index price. Either of those can then have pass-through components for capacity, ancillary services, transmission, those types of things. So if you have any questions about those products, if you would like to know how to evaluate a product with a particular customer in mind or with a particular market, those are opportunities that we really, really like to get into. We want to have those conversations with you. Our goal on the strategic solutions team is to come up with a customized product that really performs well for your customer. So coming up with a product with your customer in mind, rather than trying to push them a particularly, popular product which works for other people. We want to come up with something that's really has like I said, has the customer in mind, is specifically for them. And we really see, Scott and I were on the phone with a very large customer just the other day. And something that we touched on that I think is really important is that, we're happy to do all of this work and to talk with your customers. We really emphasize on the team selling approach. But the other thing about broker online exchange is that the execution of the contract is our starting point, truly. It's then when we can start actually delivering on reporting on the value that we're bringing to customers. Up until then, we can talk them through the process and we can deliver value in different ways. But our job really starts whenever that energy agreement starts. So keep that in mind. We want to be in touch with you and with your customers, supporting you throughout the life of the contract, not just up until execution. That's really been a way that we succeed. It's a way that we keep our customers sticky to you as their agent, and keep you guys sticky to us, as we want to keep you around. I'll pass it back to Scott if you want to go into any of this, contract language or any of these pieces on pricing. I know, Scott, you've been on the supplier side and helped to build some models. So if there's any of that you want to touch on, go ahead.
Yeah, real briefly. Thanks, Ally. That was a great segment there, and I think it's that's really important for everybody to understand about how it's not just, hey, the price came from supplier A and supplier B and supplier C, and supplier A is the best price, cool, let's take it. There's so many variables out in hand. Supplier A may be the lowest price of the three, but in the end of the day, it might actually be the highest. But you really got to look in the fine details. And yeah, I mean, I worked at a supplier. We've got other people who worked at a supplier on our team. I've actually have written contracts at suppliers. I've written contracts 3 different times. And once as a consultant and as well for a supplier when someone was starting out. And trust me, I mean, I'll say this in all honesty, I wrote that language to benefit my person I was working for at the time, and that's a supplier. I mean, that's what they do, is they're trying to, I'm not saying their suppliers are evil by any means, but they're in everything to protect themselves and to make sure that, they can get the optionality where they can get it. And our goal is to try to get that swung back, where it's a fair contract. And, I understand the risk suppliers take in this, and I'm not gonna, try to ask for something that's ridiculously not gonna get done, because, I understand the risk they take as well. But yeah, that's what we do. And I also talked about supplier pricing model. We built those internally here too, so we kind of know where the pricing should be at. Which is really important on you choose a product with a layered hedge product, because we'll make sure that there's not extra margin being padded in there that shouldn't be. And third, one more thing too is when choosing a kind of a layered hedge approach, you're going to have an adder, index adder, or not an index adder, excuse me, adder to all volumes, because some of the components might be in there. We also will bring our expertise to the table of kind of which components to bundle in there based off of really who the supplier is, who this is, and to kind of give you a chance at actually, you might have some extra savings there that could be garnered in the future if you choose that right. That's really all we have here on that today, and I just want to see if there's any questions for anybody from anybody out there. And let me go look in the questions slide here. And feel free also to send questions after the webinar, and I think a questionnaire comes out to you guys, or a survey. Feel free to ask those in there, pass them on as well. I do see one here, and Allie, you might want to go into this. This is minimum. What's the minimum size for a layered hedge strategy if you're going to choose that kind of 25% layered hedge? I guess that's what the question is asking.
Sure. Yeah, I think we like to see opportunities around 5,000 megawatt hours a year, or 5 million kilowatt hours a year. We can apply that strategy to customers that are a little bit smaller than that, just depending on whether it's one big meter or several small meters. But that's really where you start to see that type of strategy pay off in terms of taking that long view and layering in those hedges at 12%, 25%, 50%, those types of things.
Thanks, Allie. Appreciate that. And I see one more question here. What's the impact on the Middle East situation in the Middle East with Israel on power and natural gas prices? And it's funny, I was going to put this topic up on the call today, but obviously I don't have 45 minutes, and I think a lot of you be quite long to hear my voice for that long to go over this. I had to cut some topics out, but thanks for asking the question. Brief answer. There's not really, here's the effect of it. It's going to affect crude oil a lot more than it is power natural gas. I mean, there isn't, in Qatar, there's some natural gas produced and shipped over, but it's nothing domestically here. And I think that's where the question about it is, domestically, what's going to happen. If anything, and this is kind of contrary, like I remember last month we talked about hurricanes and how like a hurricane is actually a bearish event. If anything, any effect in crude prices, especially internationally, domestically, where crude oil prices are going to go higher, has a slightly bearish effect on natural gas, because what happens is especially down in like the Permian region and stuff like that in Texas, gas is actually a byproduct of crude oil. In fact, when they drill there, they're not even quantifying as much. Maybe they are starting to now a little bit since last year, but not quantifying as much. Like, oh, well, we're drilling to get natural gas and crude. It's more like we're drilling to get crude, like, oh, we got natural gas. They flared it off until environmental spikes stopped in and we got some pipes in there. So now it can be shipped out. So if anything, what's going to happen is higher crude oil prices could trigger more drilling going for crude oil, and with that, a byproduct of natural gas. I mean, the area in Texas, shale areas in Texas, we're the largest natural gas, biggest growth in natural gas production has been coming out of there in the last couple of years. So, and that's expected to continue. And like I said, you need natural gas, higher natural gas prices could trigger more natural crude oil drilling, which is going to be a byproduct of natural gas, and more natural gas supply come on the market. So that's really the effect there. But otherwise, I went to, and I had this question in a meeting the other day as well. And same thing, yeah, it's news right now. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I told the customer, I said, like, hey, if anybody's coming to you and telling you things like, you know, the LNG strike is going to cause gas prices to go up, the situation in the Middle East is going to cause gas prices to go up, hurricanes cause it, you know, I told that customer I'd run away. So that they're just trying to get you to buy. But there's plenty of reasons why customers should buy, have strategies and all that. But this, so. But that's all we have for today. I don't see any more questions right now, but again, send them over. Really appreciate everybody's time here. Just again, want to let you know, this picture, we're here to serve you. This picture is definitely, it's less than a year old, and we already have about 10 or 15 more people on here. So we'll get together again here soon. Hopefully get this updated. But we're here to serve you. This is what we pride ourselves on. This is what we feel is our difference, the box difference of how is the services we have talked about on this call, joining all that stuff. That's our services. Everybody else will just, yeah, we'll get you the best price and we'll get relationships with suppliers and cool, we'll send it in this portal and here you are. But no one can match our other services, our human touch. So we're looking forward to continuing to work with you guys and anybody that's new, build a relationship with you and your customers. Have a great day, everybody. Great fall. We'll talk to you next month.
Thanks, everybody.